Welcome to Marcor Studios, where here we will be interviewing different industry professionals and educating our homeowners as well as the industry as a whole. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to Marcor Studios. We are here today with Anthony Zanni from Signature Premier Properties. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So talk to me. How'd you get into real estate? Tell us what you do, because I know real estate was not your first career.
No, it was not my first career. I was a NYPD cop for 10 years.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed doing it. It was fun until I had 6 knee surgeries and 1 hip surgery. And then they politely told me to take a hike, which was nice. I had no idea what to do. I really didn't. I just knew that I had a house to sell actually in North Babylon. And my wife and I were going to be buying a home. So I said, let me get my real estate license and just try to sell this home, buy us a home, and I'll figure out something from there. That's what I kept telling myself. And I wound up doing exactly that. But then my neighbor called me and he said, can you sell my home? I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, I'll sell it if you want. I said, I really don't know what I'm doing though. I said, I was, I'm not like a real realtor. And he was like, no, you sold your home for really high. Like you could do it. And I was like, okay, no problem. Like it was not my plan at all. And I did. I sold his home for quite a bit of money. And then I got 3 leads from that house as well. And I wound up selling them home. So I think I closed like 6 deals in a matter of like 3 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I remember like I cashed all the checks together for some reason. I have no idea why, but I remember looking at the check and it being like more than I made in a year of NYPD. And I remember being like, I can do this.
Yeah.
My wife was like, yeah, you can. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm a realtor.
That's amazing.
And that's how it started.
And now here you are running two
offices.
entire offices.
Yeah.
How many agents?
Each office has about 80.
That's amazing.
So we're about probably 160 between Babylon and Ronkonkoma.
That can't be easy. It's a lot to
No,
manage.
the phone rings constantly. They're good people and they're good agents, so it makes it fun, keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about when you're listing homes.
Yeah.
What are some good things when it comes to home improvements that people should be doing before they're listing?
So for me, if you can upgrade a kitchen, a bathroom, a roof, or windows, I feel like those are your big ticket items that like people actually genuinely care about. Like,
and like those will give you some the
bang for your buck. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like when people walk into a home, they are physically looking at the kitchen and the bathrooms. Everything else is kind of like, I don't want to say they're blind to it, but they can overlook it. Buyers can overlook it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, buyers really can't overlook kitchens or bathrooms. That's like a big thing.
Because it's a big ticket, it's a big inconvenience.
And I get it.
Yeah.
And you're spending most of your time in the kitchen,
Yep.
right? And the rest of it, probably if you're a male, in the bathroom.
Yep.
But the rooms, the bedrooms and stuff, people can upgrade. It's not that
paint,
hard.
some carpets, some finishing floors.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about the exterior though. So what are the things that you see more on the exterior?
The roofs are the biggest thing right now. They really are. If you go in there and the roof has been there for 30 years or it's leaky, it's always a pain in the butt. We just did something I had a patch hog listing that the roof was leaky and we had to give a very big credit. And it was like, my seller's not happy about it, but he had to know the roof was leaking at some point in time.
So it's really cool about when, we hear this a lot from realtors that they run into these needing to give these credits at the sale, which hurts you as a realtor because it's hurting your commission. It's hurting the homeowner, the seller as what they're getting for the house. So we actually came out with a program for realtors that can actually help you guys. So we give you either a 10% discount because we know that there's a need to get it done and get it done quickly and at a reasonable number. That's if they're going to, be paying out of pocket. Because those improvements, we know, and we see it. I was on a call yesterday with actually a commercial property, and there were like 25 or 2,600 panels that needed to be removed. The system's like 8 years old, and they need a roof, and the roof is fully saturated. And the guy literally said on the phone, he goes, give me the highest possible price because I'm going to negotiate that. And then what's going to happen? He's going to come back to us and negotiate the price down and pocket the difference. And we've found that when we tie into the real estate industry, it's like, all right, let's give you the tools so you can prep that house from the beginning. Make sure you're going to be able to list it for maximum, the maximum amount of money. because what we want is to make sure that you don't have 2 or 3 other roofers coming in saying, okay, this roof's going to cost you $30,000 or $40,000 when really maybe they can get it done for 18 or 20.
Absolutely.
And of course, they're going to give you the higher numbers. They're not going to give you the, the truck off the truck number. They're going to give you the most expensive guy out there to be able to have a bigger number to negotiate. So if we did it where we're offering that 10% discount to give them an incentive to do it now and get the most for their house, or we offer them what's called our no pay, no interest loan. So 12 months, no payment, no interest. So they can get the work done and they don't have to worry about paying for it until they close. They get the excess money that they would have had to give a credit for and then some. And they pay the loan off and easy peasy.
That's fantastic.
So we've created that roofing, siding, windows. I mean, we've seen that those are, the curb appeal people want.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time the roof is one thing people do not want to have to do. They don't want to worry about it. They know it's protecting everything under their house.
Yes.
So they want to make sure that they're not responsible for having to do it. And unfortunately, roofing estimates can be so far spread apart that you don't know what is the right number. Mm-hmm. So if you can just get it done and not have to give that give that buyer a credit, that's why we've put these programs together.
I think that's a fantastic program, and I think you're going to do big things with it. I really do.
Appreciate that. So let's talk about when you deal with solar on a transaction.
Sure.
Because we know that that's been a big obstacle. We know it
certainly has been, yes.
So talk to me about what do you guys run into with solar?
So the biggest thing I feel like, I'll say my biggest thing is I feel like every time I've had a house to sell with solar, or I had a client that was purchasing a house with solar, I feel like the solar companies come and go rather quickly.
Yes.
Like, company X put it on, but now company Y is maintaining it or whatever. I'm not sure your guys' lingo.
Yeah.
So it's always something like that where it's kind of like the solar company passing the buck to another company. I guess these companies pop up and then just disappear overnight. That's been the hardest transition. I know I sold one with solar in Lindenhurst not too long ago, and that was an issue to transfer the solar panels to somebody else's names. It took 6 months to do the transfer. Yeah. And it was absurd. It was actually insane with how
shouldn't take that long.
No. And we had everybody working on it, and they just, I can't think of the name of the company off the top of my head. They just weren't responsive in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Anytime you have those types of situations, you can always reach out to us because that's what we do. We help people navigate those. So everything from when people have leaks with insurance claims attached to them, with mold that's, we actually just launched our remediation division because there's things that keep happening by default that we're like, all right, we can't rely on people for this, so we're just going to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So, it was the roofing tied into the solar, then the solar tied into now the remediation side of things and making sure that the mold that's attached to it, now we're not having to bring in another person to make the customer's experience more, pleasant, because by the time they get to us, they're already so escalated because of exactly what you're saying.
Right.
You've got these orphan systems, people that don't know, what they are buying, what they're selling, what they got. Is it a power purchase agreement? Is it leased? Is it a finance? Do they own it outright? Is it functioning properly? And then it turns into, that's why we do our solar roof check program, which is a 20-point roof inspection and a solar diagnostic inspection. So not to throw you under the bus, but I'm gonna. But you called me a couple weeks ago that your system wasn't working, right? And your system's 4 years old.
Yeah.
And it's technically under warranty.
Yes.
And then naturally the company
is gone. Yep.
No, they're there.
Oh yeah.
They kind of picked and chose from what you were telling me if they wanted to charge you for a truck roll.
Oh God, yeah. That whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever that company is.
They ended up wanting to charge you for the truck roll. Meanwhile, you're under warranty. We're out there coincidentally today, and we find out it's all workmanship related issues on your original install that should have been handled. As a homeowner and being in the industry, you must not be happy.
No, it's the most frustrating thing, and this isn't the first time. I mean, I'm happy that I finally got with your company because you guys are doing everything correctly. Whereas I've had to use them several times in the past, and every time they're just banging you over the head with a big price tag for stuff that should have been handled. And it's
all stuff that should be under warranty,
correct.
Which is just crazy.
No, as a homeowner, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. I mean, anytime something goes wrong, it kind of stinks, you know, and the price tags nowadays They're not cheap.
No.
Everything is always going to be a pretty penny. So
that's the reason why Solar Roof Check being a third party coming in is it's really hard to get, like, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, hey, let me bring in my original installer and just pay them for an inspection. Is the original installer actually going to tell you if there's something wrong? If
No,
they did
God,
something
no.
wrong?
Yeah.
There's a diagnostic issue? Like, we want to get that information out there. But more importantly, our friends Kirby and Chewy over here. So these I actually typically bring into my classes when I teach them, because this is actually stuff that came off of houses that we did in the last couple weeks.
God.
And these are the big culprits of this type of damage. But the jacket on here, these are your main trunk lines that are tied to your system, okay? You can literally see the teeth marks in them. It's crazy.
Wow.
So the squirrels will eat those. The raccoons, they'll do their damage too. But what happens when you don't have that critter guard around the system, this is what you're seeing. These are the issues. Except this is when it really escalates. This is this piece when it's melted.
That's not
This
good.
came off of a house last week.
Oh.
Okay, so we're coming in just servicing these systems, but this is scary stuff. This is when you're not putting the deterrent for these critters to actually get under the system. They're snagging the system altogether, And getting back into the solar side of things and understanding like the warranty side of things and the leasing or power purchase agreements, what's important for the real estate industry to know the most is that when you're dealing with a buyer or a seller, if they're solar, right, and you're selling that house, you need to know who owns that system, who's responsible and contractor for that system, because if it's an orphan system, in many cases, a bankruptcy trustee has assigned that to what's called an MSA, a master service agreement, like a contract that they'll have companies like ourselves that they'll dispatch out. Now, those companies are supposed to be licensed and insured properly. We're working on the companies to make sure that they are vetting these companies properly. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that anything that needs to get done is being addressed and that people know who to call, how to make sure that they're not voiding the warranty.
Right.
So, for example, in your case, you own your system. But let's say it was a leased system. You couldn't just call me and tell me, hey, I want you to fix my system. Even though this is what I do for a living, I could technically, if I touched it and wasn't certified and didn't have written approval to touch that system, technically we could void your warranty. In your case, in my eyes, you didn't have a warranty because they were charging you a truck roll anyway,
Right.
saying you didn't have a warranty when you did have a warranty. So who cares at this point if you voided their warranty, because at the end of the day, they weren't honoring it. So that you personally were in an unfortunate situation. I happen to have been in the same unfortunate situation with the same company. That's why my company actually started, was because I had $30,000 damage on my own house. And that's when I went up on my roof and I was like, what? You guys don't know anything about roofing. We're going to roll with this. So a lot of our divisions here are built as a solution to problems we've seen. But what a lot of people don't know, especially when buying and selling a house with solar, is that if somebody touches it that's not certified or approved to touch it, they can call the loan, they can accelerate your payments, your lease payments, and nobody finds that out until after the fact.
Right.
Now, the roofing contractor or the landscaper or whoever you hired that wasn't certified or maybe wasn't licensed, what happens there is there's a bigger issue because they don't care. No harm off their back. They got paid for the service.
Yeah.
It's now your problem, or it's your buyer's problem or your seller's problem. So it's important to understand where those warranties stand, and that's why Solar Roof Check is just so important. And for us, we're on the service side, so we're maintaining systems. It's very unlikely I installed any of the systems, so we're going to run a complete non-biased diagnostic on this. So, that's something that we found that's been very helpful both on the residential and commercial side. Commercial's a lot more involved, but the residential side seems to be the one that has more of the issues.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I do decent amount of commercial as well, and yeah, I think residential is going to be where your bread and butter is.
Yeah, I think, and unfortunately, it's just, again, it's another thing that we had to come out with, because there is nothing for people like yourselves, the lenders. The ones who actually call us the most for the Solar Roof Check program is actually the attorneys, because they're the ones snagging with, oh God, there's an open permit here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually dealing with 3 of them at the same time with the same attorney right now, where he called us, he's like, this one has an open permit, this one has, this one doesn't have this closed out. We had to go back. We had to put the stickers on the right way. We had to make sure. Today we just got one that, the engineer who actually signed off on everything isn't the original engineer. So now no one's anywhere to be found. So they actually have to re-engineer the whole system. And the town's like, no, this is what we want. So it causes you guys bottlenecks in your end of things. And your job is to get people to the closing table, especially now with rates where they're at. You want to lock in those rates, before anything goes one direction or another.
Sure.
And, I experienced that too. I refinanced my house. When I refinanced my house, when rates dropped, I had to pay an additional fee for a rate lock extension because they couldn't get my UCC filing off at the time, and they didn't know how to navigate it. So, our goal is to try and support the real estate industry, make sure that you guys are getting the things that you need, and in any way that we can help you guys, we're here to help.
I love it. I look forward to this partnership. I really do.
So, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We love working with you guys. So, let's keep it going.
Thank you, Gina.
You got it. Thank you.